Well, we're set for game one between the Cubs and the Cardinals at a standing room only Wrigley Field in Chicago, Illinois. Let's take a look at the Cubs lineup defensively. We'll go around the horn with Sammy Sosa in right field. Gary Matthews Jr. is in center. Delino DeShields starting in left. Ricky Gutierrez a day off yesterday, back at shortstop for the Cubs. Miguel Cairo, who played very well, is at third base. Eric Young at second. Ron Coomer over at first, and Robert Machado gets the start behind the plate. He'll receive the tosses from Cub right-hander Kevin Tampany, who's looking again for win number 9 on the year. Cardinals lineup for Tony La Russa this way: Fernando Vina, Placido Polanco, and Albert Pujols 1, 2, and 3 in the order. Mark McGwire's last 4 hits have been home runs. Jim Evans having a down year. He's got a bad right shoulder. Craig Paquette is in left. Edgar Renteria at shortstop. Mike Matheny behind the plate. And left-hander Bud Smith will pitch and bat ninth. Kevin Tampany has won once since June 1st. He's 1-5 since that time. But Tampany has pitched really well in his last start for the Cubs. A no decision down in Houston, where he struck out 9 Astros and walked only 1 man.
I thought that is where he turned the corner. His fastball had much more life on it. Anytime you get that good live fastball to go along with that changeup, I thought for a while there, Chip, with his fastball, didn't have the good velocity, and guys would start sitting on his changeup, because again, he needs throw that fastball along with that changeup. And I think against this Cardinal ball club, when you look at their lineup, primarily right-handed hitting lineup, and that's for good reason, because right-handed hitters are hitting .323 against Tampany this year. He needs to throw that breaking ball away to right-handed hitters.
And here's the man you've got to worry about most of all. He sets up the entire Cardinal batting order. That's Fernando Vina, who's hitting .301. He's stolen 11 bases. He's been hit by a pitch 15 times, and he's hit .410 against the Cubs pitching staff this year. And a quick strike, says Mark Wegner, our home plate umpire. Talk about premier leadoff men in our division. Craig Biggio, Fernando Vina immediately come to mind. Slapped out of play, foul, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Not to take anything away from our own Eric Young, but those two men have much higher on base percentages than the Cubs second baseman and leadoff hitter. Vina again around 36% of the time. Biggio an astounding 40% of the time he's on base.
Well, when you compare both Vina and Biggio, the one thing, they are right on top of that plate. You mentioned hit by pitches. They dare you to throw it inside.
That should be a good start. Young stays down on the ball, and Vina's retired. He's 0 for his last 12. Well, a great day to pitch. Wind out of the northeast at 14 miles an hour. The grass very thick and lush. We saw Augie Ojeda yesterday hit 2 of the hardest balls we've seen hit here, and they didn't go anywhere. So if you get fly balls here, you'll be rewarded. If you get ground balls, you know you're going to be in good shape.
Well, we've seen right in front of that home plate the last couple times with the Cubs sinker ball pitchers in Taveras and Lieber. A little muddy in front of the plate.
Here's Polanco. Surprised ground crew didn't pull out the old garden weasel and plant some sunflowers down there or something. Here's Polanco. .328 batting average. He's played a very good third base for the Cardinals. This one looped towards second. Young leaping catch makes the play. 2 down.
Well, yesterday EY made a couple nice backhand plays on some line drives, and this time has to go to his left. There's that former Rutgers football experience right there, going back on a baseball.
That's right. Defensive back, go for the ball, not the defender. And EY makes the play. 2 up, 2 down for Pujols. Pujols a very valuable player. He can play either corner outfield spot. He can play either corner position on the infield. And boy, can this kid hit. 24 home runs, a new Cardinal rookie record, 73 driven in.
Well, the one thing that has made him such a good hitter this year, Chip, is he is short and quick to the baseball. Doesn't have a very long swing, and for a while though his swing was getting long, and La Russa had a talk with him about that. What would you rather do? Hit 300 or hit 30 home runs?
Well, he won't hit 300 if he keeps taking strikes like that. Pujols argues, thought it was outside, and the Cardinals are down an order in the first.
You're watching Fox Sports Net.
Cardinals down 1-2-3 in the top of the first. Let's check out their lineup defensively. The arguing Albert Pujols will be in right field. Jim Edmonds, a Gold Glover, in center. Left fielder today is hot-hitting Craig Paquette. Edgar Renteria has had some defensive problems. He's the shortstop. Placido Polanco is over at third. Fernando Pena at second. Big Mac Mark McGwire at first. Mike Matheny is behind the plate with Bud Smith on the mound. The Cubs lineup for Don Baylor has Young, DeShields, and Sosa 1-2-3. Coomer, Gutierrez, and Gary Matthews Jr. is in center. Cairo at third, Machado behind the plate, and Kevin Tampany hits ninth. Bud Smith, very impressive youngster, 21 years of age, a fourth-round pick by the Cardinals 3 years ago, making his first road start as a major league pitcher.
And very similar, Chip, to David Williams, yesterday's pitcher for Pittsburgh. Young left-hander with pretty good movement on his fastball, not afraid so far to throw inside the righties. Be interesting again to see whether he doubles up in there.
Ball too high to Eric Young. All of his starts have been at Busch Stadium. Pretty good pitcher's park. Wonder what Smith thought of Wrigley Field in the friendly confines when he walked out for the first time knowing he was getting the ball for inning number 1. And Ivy, I'm sure it feels like it's tickling you in the back.
Boy, you stand on that mound, it does feel like it's right on top of you. Similar to Fenway Park and the Green Monster, but probably a little reassuring to him with the flags blowing in.
Young makes the youngster work, and it's a 5-pitch walk to open up the game. Matheny's been very good behind the plate. He's caught more than half of would-be base stealers, so he can single-handedly shut down the running game. So let's see if Don Baylor takes the bat out of DeShields' hands. He's been one of the hottest Cub hitters with a 6-game streak working today. He is bunting. And it's a ball high. 1 ball, no strikes. Wind blowing in. Don Baylor's tendency has been to play for a run early and make it stick.
Well, there really is something to be said for getting on the board first, and that's one of the big things that La Russa does in that other dugout. 2 managers locking horns today. Baylor, former player for La Russa. Rene Latchman, former third base coach for Baylor. I'm sorry, for Tony La Russa. And so there's a long history here between Latchman, Baylor, Dave Duncan.
Ball and a strike in the Cub first. No bunt that time, and there's that outstanding breaking ball that Smith has. 1-2.
Well, we talked about he does have a good feel of all his pitches, and he will run that breaking ball, start at left-hander's hip, and work it out over the plate.
Young, a real good lead, draws the throw over to first. Cardinals come in just 1 game over 500. They've been very, very weak on the road. They've won 18, lost 28 away from St. Louis.
Boy, and really, as of late, this pitching staff, that last homestand, they had a 1.8 ERA, but they only had.
Young got picked off.
Boy, lefties will trot out that move to eliminate runners from going on the first move. And EY first look. This is the first time that EY has been picked off all year.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And you could see he took that walking lead. Smith looking right at him. As soon as he made that last step, he was stuck. That ball driven toward left. Long run, Paquette. And it's out of play. We'll do it again. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And you can know about pitchers moves like that, but we've not seen too many left-handers with that type of move. And you might have an advanced scout watch a team for a week and not see that move from him. Let's say an advanced scout sees him one time. He may not use that move all game. So it may have caught EY a little bit by surprise.
3-2 pitch. Again lifted down the left field line. The wind will push that again into the sun-splashed seats. Smith works the third base side of that rubber. What does that tell you on the mound, Dave?
Well, basically, if you're on that side, you have trouble getting in on right-handed hitters or away to left-handed hitters. Now, when you watch Smith throw, he throws across his body just a little bit. And it's amazing, too, Chip, by moving on the rubber, how it creates a different look at the plate. And sometimes pitchers will cheat also. If they really need to get a pitch away to a lefty, they will angle their plant foot towards that outside corner.
Another walk. 2 walks to 2 hitters. Fortunately for Smith, he picked off Young. You figured DeShields, the former Cardinal, will now maybe be a half to a quarter of a step closer to that first base bag, especially with Sammy Sosa coming up next.
Well, look at this pickoff move. The one thing that he did, you have to make sure that you get your lead off soon. Now, as he's putting his hands together and getting into a stretch, that's when he's going to throw over. So make sure you get your lead off early.
Sosa with 4 home runs against the Cardinal staff this year, with 34 bombs, 98 driven in, and a .305 batting average. He takes a strike over the outside corner. 0-1. In case you missed it, another big trade announced late last night involving the Arizona Diamondbacks. I'll tell you about that after the 1-strike pitch to Sosa. Albie Lopez and Mike DeFelice go from Tampa Bay to Arizona for Jason Conti, Nick Bierbrot, and a bucket full of cash. A deal that in the end saves Tampa Bay about $2 million, plus the 2 prospects from Arizona.
Well, it better be a bucket full of cash, because
runner was going and Sosa fouls it off 1-2.
That really helps out that Diamondback club. We saw Nick Bierbrot, certainly a prospect for the Diamondbacks, but at the same time, anytime you can get a top-notch starter like Albie Lopez, although Albie has really struggled this year, but change of scenery, and his last 3 starts have been solid for the Devil Rays, and it really has been Schilling and Johnson in 3 days of rain.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Fisted into the seats again. It's not like Tampa Bay was exactly the 27 Yankees either, but Lopez got off to a terrific start, then had a long stretch where he just could not win a game. But obviously you plug him in, Schilling, Johnson, Lopez, now Robert Ellis, and then you wait for Brian Anderson to come back. That's as good a 5 as you'll get. And that fills a glaring need for Arizona. And for Tampa Bay, Bierbrot, very promising young left-handed pitcher. Jason Conti, a chance to play outfield for them. More than anything else, the cash. They have had some cash flow problems there since their inception. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Sosa. DeShields a good lead. Again, a throw to first.
And I think if you look at that ball club, probably went about it in hindsight the wrong way, going after some high-priced free agents that just have not worked out.
Smith very deliberate and struck out Sosa. Came up and in. 2 out.
Chip, you mentioned earlier about throwing on that side of the rubber. Much easier to go inside to a righty. And the one thing Smith will do with that fastball is he will cut it a little bit inside.
Wasn't the fastest fastball Sosa's ever seen, but it was in a perfect spot to tie him up. So Coomer bats with a man at first, 2 men out. 6 home runs, 34 driven in. DeShields started and stopped. Cardinals throwing the ball exceptionally well. The last 5 games, their staff's given up 9 runs. The problem is they haven't been able to score. And if that sounds familiar, well, you must be a Cub fan, because that's been the story most of this season. Swing on a hanger, and he rips it into the seats. And Coomer's down 0-2.
You don't really have to be a gas master to get the ball inside if you're left-handed, because a lot of right-handed hitters will look out over the plate against you. The one thing that I have liked the last couple of games from Ron is his ability to spin on the ball. He was getting tied up a lot on inside pitches. Hey, you get in your kitchen, pull the ball.
Just did stay alive. It'll stay 0-2. In case you missed our open, the news for the Cubs today: Todd Hundley has been activated. He's in uniform. He is available today. Cubs for the moment carrying 3 catchers. A situation that Don Baylor said he's not real comfortable with. Doesn't know how he'll find enough playing time for all 3 of those men.
It's amazing how things work out, though.
Slap toward left field. Paquette on the run. Makes the play. And Coomer flies out to retire the side. No runs, no hits, 2 walks, 1 left at the end of 1. 0-0.
Cub fans, tomorrow will be Dish Network Day at Wrigley Field. Exciting prizes from Dish Network will be given away throughout the game. You could win a new Dish Network satellite TV system. You can win with the lucky ticket number drawing, or stop by the Chicago Cubs administrative offices at Wrigley Field for a free entry form. It's Dish Network Day tomorrow, July 27th.
Well, here's Mark McGwire, the big Cardinal first baseman, hitting just 198. That one hit a mile high into the air. Hits it on the line. Might have a shot. But this one catches too much of the atmosphere, and Matthews puts it away. 4 up, 4 down for Kevin Tampany in today's start. Plenty to talk about as the afternoon proceeds with McGwire. All that talk about retirement was somewhat premature. McGwire was simply stating that at his age, and with that knee taking a little extra time to get healthy, there comes a point in time for every athlete when you have to look in the mirror, and he knows that the time is soon, although he says he's not ready to hang him up yet.
I think it's more just a matter of frustration, because he knows that when he's 100%, he's a heck of a lot better hitter than he's shown this year. And basically, because of his right knee, he's not able to drive. He's really relying on his arms for his power. Another guy that's going through similar type injuries this year is Mr. Edmonds. Bad shoulder all year long.
Since May 17, Edmonds hitting .216 for the Cardinals. He's still a very big threat in the middle of this Cardinal lineup. Remember the game in St. Louis, that rainy, soggy afternoon where Gary Matthews Jr. hit the line drive home run to center field. Edmonds went up above the wall, jammed that shoulder again. Really hasn't been the same offensive player. Tampany changed speeds very well. Has his second strikeout. Edmonds asks if it was a strike. Wegner answers in the affirmative, and it's out number 2 in the second.
Boy, last time out, Tap had a good breaking ball there. Haven't seen that too often from Tap, but a backdoor breaking ball. So giving the Cardinals a little bit different look.
And for every strikeout recorded this year, Taco Bell makes a charitable donation to the Boys and Girls Club of Chicago. 2 outs, left fielder Craig Paquette stands in. Paquette also swinging a hot bat at the moment. He's hit safely in 7 of his last 8 games played. This is another guy who just strikes fear in the heart of the Cubs. For some reason, he wears our staff out.
And you breathe a sigh of relief, because There's been times where Mack has not been in the lineup. At the last second, Paquette is plugged in, and he's hurt the Cubs with a couple 3-run bombs.
It's happening. Like Leonardo da Vinci out there, just painting, isn't it?
Paint master. Boy, he can really, when he's on, throw to both sides of the plate.
Like that. Inside corner for strike 2, outside corner for strike 3. Both Pujols and Paquette say no way, Jose. But Tampane's got a scoreless game working into the bottom of the second inning. Ordonez and the White Sox are set for a showdown at Fenway when they take on Manny Ramirez and the Boston Red Sox. Coverage starts with Primeco's Chicago Sports Tonight. The White Sox Red Sox tomorrow at 5:30 on Fox Sports Net. Bud Smith, Dave Otto, is going to pitch himself into a world of trouble if he keeps falling behind these Cub hitters.
And he's tried to start off a couple of these Cubs hitters with some off-speed pitches. For first pitch changeup here to Ricky Gutierrez.
2 balls, no strikes to the Cubs shortstop. And a high strike over the outside edge. Gutierrez with a 6-game hit streak. He's hit the Cardinals at a .344 clip this year, and he'll try to stay out of the way of Edgar Renteria's elbow. Line drive down the left field line is in for 1. It'll roll to the wall. Ricky will have an extra base hit to lead off the second inning. 15 two-base hits for Gutierrez, and the key again, ball 1, ball 2.
Falling behind and not able right now to throw the pitch inside. And Ricky, I've seen him go to right field good with the pitch out over the plate, but Smith does not have the same type of velocity as some of the other pitchers we've seen lately. He hooks the ball down the left field line.
So let's see if Gary Matthews Jr. can move him over. For Miguel Cairo is waiting on deck. Matthews in the throes of a 2-for-32 slide. Although he did get the start yesterday, had a double, scored a run, and drew a bases-loaded walk in that key 8th inning for the Cubs. Cardinals pinch at the corners, and Matthews, well, did he foul it or out? Mark Wegner, no indication. Scoreboard shows ball 1. Looked for a moment like he foul-tipped that ball at the plate.
Pulled the bat back just in time.
First run of the game potentially out at second base. Matthews lays down a beauty. Only one play. It's the first. Sacrifice 2-4. Runner to third with 1 man out.
Boy, as soft as it is in front of the plate, sometimes you worry that it's not going to get out there far enough. Because one of the best throwing catchers in the game, Matheny, if that ball stays on the dirt, he might have a shot at third base with Ricky running.
And I like the way Matheny took charge on that play. Just screamed, "I've got it," and made the play with ease. So let's see if Cairo can deliver the first run of the game this afternoon. He's driven in 7 men. He's hitting .295. And he will line it into center field. It'll drop and it'll score. Ricky Gutierrez comes home. The double, the sacrifice, and a bloop single makes it 1-0 Cubs in the second. Boy, Cairo and Ojeda are just amazing to me. They sit, and then Don calls their number, and they come in and perform very well for him.
Boy, Miguel, what an acquisition for the Cubs. And I like jumping all over. Hasn't had a good look at Smith, but hey, you get one in your lightning zone. Good base running here by Ricky. By going down the line, if he tries to tag up there, he may not score. But he sneaks down the line, and he knows the ball's going to dump in there, scores easily.
So Tapani throwing well. The Cubs jump on Bud Smith for the first run of the game here in the second. And Cub catcher Robert Machado hits for the first time. Same 2 teams tomorrow afternoon. Jason Beret against Darryl Kyle. Runner goes, and it's fouled out of play on the hit and run. Saturday, a national telecast. Kerry Wood and Andy Bennis hook up. Joe Buck of the Cardinals and Tim McCarver will be here for that telecast. Then Sunday night, ESPN, John Miller, Joe Morgan. For the Sunday night game of the week, Julian Tavares against Matt Morris.
This is some pretty good matchups, huh?
This is a huge series for both these ball clubs, but especially the Cardinals. They're 8.5 games back. Driven into center field, pretty shallow. Edmonds trots in a few steps. 2 outs for Tapani. And again, there's, after today, 61 games to play. And as any fan will tell you, crazier things have happened. Think of the 1964 Cardinals, for example. But after this series, the Cardinals will play the Cubs just 3 more times. And so a chance for them to gain ground head-to-head will severely diminish at the end of this series. So they've got to make some hay now here in Chicago. 1 ball, no strikes.
And the Cubs have played the Cardinals so well here at Wrigley Field. Another reason why it's important to get that first one under your belt here at Wrigley Field with a big and long 4-game series.
Back up the middle and into center field. Kevin Tapani with a 2-out hit. Not only have our pitchers been pitching well, they've been hitting well. Tapani a base hit today. Julian Tavares 2 games ago singled twice, scored twice, and drove in a run against Todd Ritchie.
This ball up the middle probably should have been caught by Smith. Almost caught him by surprise. Got a pretty good hop off that mound. But Tap, he's some kind of strike. Just drives the ball right up the middle.
I mean, it was a bullet. Here's Young. He walked on 5 pitches to open up the Cubs half of the first inning.
And how about Julian the other night? 2 knocks. I asked him if he patterns himself after Rod Carew. He looks like him, doesn't he, swinging?
Driven toward right. Pujols surrounds it, makes the catch. That might be a stretch. Yeah. The Cubs get a run. They get 3 hits, leave 2 stranded. At the end of 2, it's a 1-0 Cubs lead over the Cardinals.
Cub fans, how about public transportation going to and from Cubs games? The CTA Red Line stops directly at Wrigley Field at the Addison station. For night games at Wrigley, fans that do drive should take advantage of the remote parking operation, which offers parking at the DeVry Institute near Addison and Western, and the shuttle bus ride to and from Wrigley Field, all for $5. We'll be on it.
You got that right. Clickety-clack all the way downtown. Here's Edgar Renteria to lead off the Cardinal third. Renteria 6 home runs, 29 batted in, but only a .230 batting average. And at times, Dave, that offensive problem has carried over to the glove, and that's something the Cardinals really can't accept.
And most of his errors in the field this year have been fielding and not throwing. It's amazing. The good ones, and Renteria is certainly a good shortstop, but the good ones read the hops, and they get all the good hops.
They just missed outside. Count evens up 2-2. Outside corner's been pretty generous today, but even that pitch stretched the limits of generosity.
And Tap will try and stretch that outside corner.
Took a little off, and Renteria down swinging. That's 4 strikeouts for Tapani already in the game. 1 up, 1 down.
Well, when Tap's going good, he will throw you that easy cheese, that good fastball, and then pull the string with that changeup. He gets to 2 strikes, he'll throw both that changeup and that split finger fastball. Sometimes he's got such great action on that changeup, you can't tell the difference between his changeup and his split.
Mike Matheny takes a strike. Cardinals have signed him through the 2004 season. There are many in St. Louis who wonder how differently the Cardinals' playoff run might have ended up had Matheny not injured himself opening up a package containing a hunting knife last year. Driven to right center field. Wynn's going to try to hold it up. Sosa and Matthews back, and Sammy makes a terrific running catch. 2 down. Wind held it up long enough, and Sosa was able to gallop underneath and gather it in for a long fly out to right.
What a great job by Sammy to call Gary Matthews off that ball. Matthews shaded towards right center. Probably had a shot at that also, but with the jump that Sammy had and the angle he took, I've only seen one ball that Sammy has turned the wrong way this year here at Wrigley Field.
Strike one to Smith. I don't think Tappaning's fallen behind a single hitter today.
Boy. Strike one opens up everything. 0-1, you use all your pitches.
And quickly strike two to Smith. Cardinal pitcher just 170 pounds. Did that make him Bud Light?
Boy, Augie Bush would have loved him.
You got it. Squibbed up the middle, and the hits are even among the pitchers. At one apiece. And Tapani, a rare mistake with two strikes. So 1 on, 2 outs, and Fernando Vina coming up for the Cardinals.
Sometimes you get to 0-2 and you're trying to set up a hitter, but when you have the pitcher up there, hey, go right at him, and it gets in on him a little bit. I'm sorry, that was off the end of the bat. Smith got the head out. Got the head out right off the end of the bat, up the middle. Now they're even.
Willie Mosconi would have been proud. Here's Vina, tapped out to second, his first time up. And we told you about the big trade yesterday made by the Diamondbacks. A lot of big names still on the block. Jason Schmidt tonight pitching for the Pirates. Could that be Schmidt's last start in a Pittsburgh uniform? A lot of teams have expressed interest in him.
And Mike Williams.
Mike Williams, the closer for the Pirates. Slap towards short. Between Hop handled cleanly, and Smith forced at second. And that does it for the Cardinals in the third. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. Cubs 1, Cardinals nothing. DeShields leads things off in the third. Right back to the mound. 1 pitch and 1 man out. That's one of the great deals about parenting, right? You push them early, they push you late.
That's a fair trade-off, right?
Yeah, I think so. Here's Sosa, bases empty, 1 man out. Smith got Sosa up and in with an 83-mile-an-hour cut fastball. First inning. Let's see how he approaches him in this second time around.
When you talk to pitchers about facing guys like Sosa, the whole key for the Cubs against Bagwell is you got to move the ball around. There you take a look at last time up. Sosa struck out, as you mentioned, on that cut fastball.
So in that pitch track shot, it's the upper left quadrant. But as you look at the hot zone, it's the upper right quadrant that we showed you where Sosa's hitting .234 on the season. So pretty smart pitching by Smith.
But again, Sosa's one of those guys that will start guessing with you. I thought you were going to jump in front of me there.
You're on your own, Don. You get Major League pension. I don't.
Oh, okay, yeah. Until I'm 62 or whatever. A couple years away.
I was going to say 3 balls and a strike. And it's full now, 3-2.
Because what Sammy will do, if he looks bad on a couple pitches in a particular location, he'll start cheating and looking for that pitch. So, I mean, you can look at that hot zone and cold zone, but tell you what, if he's looking in a spot, he's going to get you.
Inside corner, Sosa thought he earned the walk. And home plate umpire Mark Wegner tells Sosa, Sammy, you better head back to the dugout. You're struck out, 2 away. So you got him up and in the first time, down and in this time.
And sometimes you just guess wrong. Sammy looking out over the plate, and Smith sneaks one down and in. Boy, I love the way Sammy gets his weight back. That time, just not able to pull the trigger.
Here's Ron Coomer. Ron flied out his first time up.
Talk about some hit. It's one guy that knows a ton about hitting is Ron Coomer.
You had a hitting academy and you don't.
Hey.
You're gonna have some problems.
Oh my goodness! I mean, that, you know, as a player, all you think about is the game. And one thing that Ron said one time that I think makes a lot of sense for a hitter. Don Mattingly used to say that he'd get in a slump.
Swing and a high fly ball hammered straight away center. Edmonds on a dead run over the shoulder, can't get it. It ricochets off the basket and Coomer into second with a double. And shades of Willie Mays, didn't he? And Edmonds plays as shallow a center field as anybody in baseball. On a dead sprint, couldn't get back to the track in time, and Coomer's aboard with 2 out.
Well, he really got extended on this, looking for something out over the plate. And Edmonds, with that brick wall looming, is not able to make the grab. But Coomer mentioned that when he's not going good, instead of swinging and missing, he's getting fooled and just putting the ball in play. You know, with not much authority. So when he's going good, he's swinging and missing a couple times, but that's okay. Because the worst thing you want to do as a hitter sometimes is get fooled by a pitch. Everything's out front, and you just nick the ball in play and hit a harmless ground ball. Instead of just swinging the bat with authority, and sometimes you're going to swing and miss.
I wouldn't figure Gutierrez will see a whole lot good to hit in this at bat. He's hit the Cardinals very, very badly. He already has a double. He scored the game's only run today, and one of the best Cub hitters with 2 outs and men in scoring position. Tony La Russa knows all those things. So does Matheny. They'd much rather take their chances with the slumping Gary Matthews, who's waiting on deck.
Well, particularly with the way Ricky approached Bud Smith that first time. But it's amazing. You get a young pitcher on that mound, 2-0 in this situation, he might get a pretty good pitch to hit.
Generous inside corner, 2 balls and a strike.
Chip, there's the pitch that I feel like umpires are more consistent with, calling that inside fastball for a strike.
Well, it stands to reason. Look at where the umpire takes his stance behind the plate. With a right-hand batter, the umpire is tucked in between the hitter and the catcher. He's going to get a great look at the inside edge. Conversely, when a left-hand hitter is up, he cheats to that side of the plate. It's the outside pitch that's the one that generates more arguments than most. Off the outside edge for a count 3-2, and not a single pitch Gutierrez has seen is down the middle.
And from a pitcher's perspective, sometimes umpires really split hairs on that inside corner because they have such a good look at it.
Chop toward the left side, Renteria in, up, across, and that takes care of Ricky Gutierrez and the Cubs. Bud Smith pitched very carefully and strands Coomer at second. We're through 3, and the Cubs lead by 1. As we head to the 4th inning, let's take a look at this afternoon's Half-Life trivia question. When Mark McGwire hit number 44 in 1998, who did he pass as the Cardinal all-time single-season home run leader? And the answer for you, Stephanie goes to work against the Cardinal third baseman Placido Polanco.
Well, that's a good question.
A lot of great hitters on that Cardinal franchise. Johnny Mize, Stan Musial, Ken Boyer. 2 balls, no strikes.
Boy, what a job Polanco has done for this ball club. Plugged in at all the infield positions, Pujols moving to right field. You know, he had a good year last year also. Really see him primarily time over at third base. A guy that they have developed through the Cardinal organization.
And there's some who wonder if Polanco could play shortstop every day. Renteria's troubles were to continue. Renteria with a big salary. That ball gloved at third by Cairo. Real good play, 1 out. Miguel robs Polanco of a base hit. And again, Tampany gets the leadoff man for the Cardinals for the 4th consecutive inning.
Boy, that's great range by Cairo and getting a good read from third base. Sometimes, boy, over at third base, you don't get a good look as you do over at short and second. You got to have that quick first step, and we have seen that from Cairo.
Pujols reaching. Another tapper. Boy, Kevin really uses a hitter's desire to hit a home run against him. I mean, he had Pujols out on the front foot. All he could do was hope to make contact, and if he did for Pujols, he wanted to hit that ball foul.
And Tampany's given the Cardinals a different look, throwing his breaking ball. And what hitters will do against Tap is, because he's primarily fastball changeup, they will look out over the plate, and he throws that breaking ball, moving away from them, get him out on their front foot.
Big Mac takes the ball. McGwire flied out to center to open up the Cardinals' second. Of course, McGwire missed 36 games with that bad knee. And just really now, Dave, is starting to swing the bat like the Cardinals were hoping he would.
Well, he's getting there, and I don't think, Chip, that he will get to the point that he wants to this year. With that type of knee surgery that he had and the knee problems, it's going to take him a while, because he really generates a lot of power from that back leg, and he's just not able to drive and spin off that back leg.
McGwire telling me before this series started that that knee was so troublesome for him he couldn't even press the accelerator on his car.
Oh, man.
Now you try anchoring a 270-pound frame with a bad knee. No trouble here, however, as he launches one into the seats. A 2-2 blast from McGwire ties the game. His last 5 hits all have left the ballpark.
Well, second home run off Tampany this year for Mark McGwire, 15th of the year, 33rd RBI, and even though he doesn't have the same power with his legs, if he gets his arms extended, even with this kind of wind, he makes these fields look like Little League fields. Just got a little out front with it, and there's that extension. But notice on that swing there, he's out on his front foot more than he normally is. You've got to be some kind of strong to hit like that.
So both Cardinal hits with 2 outs today, and Jim Edmonds in the box with a 1-1 count. A towering moonbeam home run from Mark McGwire. With his 33rd hit, he's hit 15 home runs.
Well, Mac is one of those guys that just tries to get the ball in the air. Good low ball hitter. When you throw one right down the chute, he's going to hurt you.
Edmonds down swinging. Tampany has 5 strikeouts, and the Cardinals are done in the 4th. But McGwire's 15th home run, a towering shot into the second row of bleacher seats in left, ties the game 1-1 heading to the home half of the 4th. Well, history repeats itself to a certain degree today. McGwire hits his 15th this year. 3 years ago, he had 44. And on that date, whom did he pass as the Cardinals' all-time single-season home run leader? I'm going to guess Stan Musial. Oh, I was right the first time. Johnny Mize. Shoot.
That's who I had.
Don't you hate it when you change your mind? Like that?
First guess.
Golly, first guess is usually right. The big cat, Johnny Mize. What a hitter he was. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Matthews, who sacrificed in the second. That led to the Cub run. 1-1 game.
Matthews has not seen a lot of at-bats from this right side, only 60 at-bats this year, and he is naturally a right-handed hitter, but when you see the bulk of your at-bats from the other side, tough to get a good look. There Smith throws that changeup, gets him out on his front foot. One of the things that with Smith, with that changeup, he's got such a good motion with it. Looks just like a fastball. The whole key when a pitcher does throw that type of changeup is to have the same grip. If you're throwing a two-seam fastball, throw a two-seam changeup.
Gyro fouls a bunt into the glove of Matheny for strike one. We talked about it a lot in that Houston series. The big question mark for that Astro team is how will their young pitchers fare under the heat and scrutiny of a pennant race. Larry Dierker, their manager, said something the other day that think about it, really makes a whole lot of sense. Every game you pitch or play in the major leagues has a lot of pressure in it. And so oftentimes you get caught up in how long a guy's been here. You forget that they're obviously good enough to get here in the first place. And so when you talk about guys like Bud Smith or Tim Redding or Wade Miller or Roy Oswalt, instead of talking about how young they are, you should admire how good they are at such a young age and realize that they're very special talents, and the things that you think you're going to face them probably won't.
Chip, I was amazed the first time I put a big league uniform on how much pressure there is. And it is intense. That dugout is chirping all game long, that bullpen. I mean, you are locked in. When you lose a game, it is a morgue in that clubhouse.
Pena battles the high sky, puts it away for out number 2. Gyro 1 for 2 on the afternoon.
And I agree with the pressure. And for me, when I look at that Astro staff and I see how many young pitchers that they do have, I think it's going to be a tough road for them. I think offensively they're going to hold their own, obviously, with that great offense. But one of the toughest things for a young player to get over is when they do struggle, how long it takes for them to get out of the tank. Well, some guys just never get out of that tank. And that is what has impressed me so much about guys like Albert Pujols, who did go into the tank and has gotten out of it and figured it out.
1-0 strikes to Machado. Robert flied out his first hit of the time. Cubs 13-8 in the month of July. That's 4 straight months for the Cubs with 13 wins or more.
One of the things that you'll see out of young pitchers is, and you can look and see it in their eyes, but some guys, you take a look at them, it's like their hair's on fire out there. They're really nervous. I mean, early on here, I mean, the crowd, it hasn't been any big situations yet. But the good ones, when you look at them on the mound, you can't tell whether the game's 10-0 or 1-0.
Kind of facially reminds you a little bit of a young Tomlin.
Boy, you talk about a game.
Down goes Machado swinging. Bud Smith having a fine afternoon at Wrigley Field. He struck out 4 Cubs, Sosa twice, and he's in a 1-1 affair heading to the 5th already. Big Max hit a home run, his 15th of the year. That's tied the game 1-1 as we head to the St. Louis half of the 5th inning. Standing room only crowd again at Wrigley Field today. There are some scattered tickets left for the remainder of this homestand. Friday afternoon, Saturday afternoon, then Sunday night for ESPN. Cubs won't be back home until August 7th. It's a night game against the Colorado Rockies. Then the Giants will be in for 3 more. Then back on the road we go. That gets you to the middle of August. Boy, the season flies by when your team's playing well. And the Cubs certainly qualify in that category. Marquette hits a sharply hit ground ball to short. 2 pitches subdues him. He's 0 for 2.
Boy, when you're able to throw that breaking ball for strikes, Tapani sets up, Paquette with the breaking ball away, that makes your fastball that much better. It doesn't have to be pinpoint inner half because you get a hitter looking away, then you throw that fastball in right on his hands.
1 up, 1 down for Edgar Renteria. Dave, I know you're what, 6'7"?
I've never really measured myself.
Yeah, you're 6'7".
Well, because the doctor's office, that thing that measures you doesn't go up all the way.
That's true. You have to be 6'7" for that to happen. I'm 6'5". It's nice to feel short.
Oh.
Because one of our favorite people's in the booth. Rifled back to the screen. He may be out of practice. He hasn't had a chance to wear one of these since April. But the voice of the Bulls, Tom Dorr, is at the ballpark today. Tommy, how you doing, pal?
I am doing terrific, and I got to tell you, this is one of my all-time dreams growing up in Chicago, to be in a booth calling baseball, just watching baseball. This is outstanding.
Line drive to second takes care of Renteria. 2 up, 2 down. Well, hey, Cubs have 59 wins. Maybe the Bulls can get to 59 wins. Huh? That'd be an optimistic season, huh?
That would be a very optimistic season, but I think the team realized that what they had tried wasn't working. Try to do something different, and I think they're doing a great job. I love the 2 young kids. Tyson Chandler, from everything I've heard, is outstanding, and and the big fella is just that. He is a big fella, and you saw Shaq in his first years, and you know how difficult it can be at the start.
Mike Matheny hits, bases clear, 2 outs. You got a point guard too, Greg Anthony, a guy that's been around a lot, hasn't played a whole lot of starting minutes the last couple of years, but a veteran presence in that locker room.
Yeah, exactly, and I think he and Oakley, those were the 2 reasons for those additions. They want veterans back there who can make it. Otto, sit down. You have no chance for that ball. With hands like yours, you should be diving under the deck here.
I don't eat with these hands either.
See, I come in and I start hollering at people right away.
I
What's
like
new,
it,
right?
It gets old hat for me. 1 ball, 1 strike to Matheny. Bases clear, tie game at 1, and driven out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Toughest thing about that Bull situation is no matter who comes to play there, they're always going to be compared to a standard that's never going to be reached again.
Exactly. No matter what they do, you can, for a while, I think the best you can do is tie if they play terrific basketball because of the great group that was there and just dominated the NBA for years.
1-2.
This guy's been pretty good too, hasn't he?
Mr. Tapani's been outstanding. 1, 2, 3, top half of the 5th. Tommy, when do you guys tip it off?
Middle of October for preseason, then about November. Actually, I think it's Halloween night, but I didn't even get to sing and I got to leave already.
Well, maybe you'll come back and sing some 7th inning. Michael Andretti's here. Tommy, good to see you. All right, thank you for being here. Beautiful day for baseball in downtown Chicago. 1-1 our score. Cubs half of the 5th inning. Tapani Young and Delino DeShields coming up against left-hander Bud Smith in this 5th inning. It's our Toyota Fan of the Game contest. Stan Campbell of Itasca, Illinois is on deck, and it's a good start. Tapani's 2 for 2. If Cubs score here in the 5th, Stan wins a Toyota Fox Sports Net prize package. A hat, t-shirt, and pair of tickets to a future Cubs game is the prize. So good luck, Stan Campbell.
Boy, and how about Tap jumping all over that first pitch, huh? You get a fastball. When you're a pitcher hitting, you make sure you get that fastball before they get to that breaking ball.
So Tapani with his 2nd career 2-hit game. There's a good push bunt by Young. Smith has to hurry and got his man by an eyelash at first. Tapani to 2nd, 1 out.
Well, even though Tapani doesn't have great speed over at second base, I think that was a pretty good move by the Cubs and EY to bunt one down that first base line, because Mac with his knee doesn't have a whole lot of range. Make the pitcher field it, and if the pitcher fields it, chances are you're not going to get the guy at second base.
Big lead by Tapani out there, and DeShields with a mammoth cut launches it back into the seats. Delino was walked, and he's bounced back to the mound. A sharply hit ball that Smith speared in the top of the, the bottom of that 3rd inning. Cardinal bullpen starts to stir. Just a little stretching out there. Nobody up and throwing yet.
Jeez, I mean,
I don't think anybody's going to throw. I think what they do is they get their assistant trainer down there and they all start to do a little calisthenics work with the mid to late innings come up.
well, I think Timlin popped his knee.
High pop on the infield. Who wants this? The Polanco in fair ground. And the Shields pops out. First base open for Sosa. Let's see if Tony La Russa lets Sammy hit here.
Well, we saw this situation earlier where a manager may want the pitcher to hit here, or the pitcher to throw to Sammy Sosa, but a rookie might make a mistake, so it makes perfect sense just to intentionally walk him.
27 intentional walks for Sosa. And it's the third free pass for the young left-hander on the day. So with 2 outs, Sosa will reach.
And that just takes the pressure off you as a pitcher, because you know you want to pitch around him, but then there's always the chance that you're going to make a mistake. And even though he's thrown Sosa pretty good in this ball game, he's liable to make a mistake to the big fella.
Well, he made a mistake to Coomer in the third, and Ron lined a double over Edmonds' head in straightaway center field. Cubs would love that same play right here.
I don't know what Timlin did, but they were looking at his left knee.
Well, he wasn't throwing. He was just sitting down there.
But sometimes, Chip, when you're in the bullpen and you cross your legs, I've seen some strange injuries.
You get a nasty double knit burn when the polyester rubs together, right?
You know what? I've seen guys that I saw one guy puncture his eardrum because he had a Q-tip in his ear.
I've heard of that.
And the funniest I heard was Randy Veras pounded on his hotel room. He was mad because the people were loud next to him. And if you knew Randy, the people next to him were loud in their hotel room, so he started pounding on the room.
Wow, that's unbelievable. Timlin's done something to his knee, sitting in the bullpen. 1 ball, 1 strike. One and 2 to the Cub first baseman.
See the trainer there, Brad Henderson? He's my college trainer at the University of Missouri. What a good guy he is. Cardinal assistant trainer now.
One ball, 2 strikes. Swing and a high fly ball to left. Paquette's first instinct was to go back, but he gallops in, makes the catch, and the pitch around to Sosa pays off at a soft fly ball to retire the Cubs in the 5th. No runs, 1 hit, 2 left. Cubs have left 6 through 5, and our game tied at 1.
Top of the 6th. Even up, 1-1. And Sears invites you to meet Cubs catcher Joe Girardi Monday, August 6th, from 6:30 to 8:30 at the Irving Park Sears store in Chicago in the home electronics department. Sears, the official hometown store of the Chicago Cubs.
You did that very well, Dave.
Thank you.
Here's Bud Smith. He's thrown a gem today.
Well, it's better than that Dish Network. Try saying Dish Network 5 times.
Try saying Fosh pitch.
Fosh.
You can get in a lot of trouble. I think Jason should rename that in honor of his trusty broadcasters. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, he's got that Fosh going, doesn't he?
He does. Hopefully he'll have it going tomorrow against Darryl Kyle, who's got one of the best curveballs in the business.
And coming off a good outing for Kyle. Throwing 8 innings. No earned runs.
2-2 to Smith.
When you look at this staff, pretty good pitching staff in a rotation. Bud Smith doing a good job for the Cardinals. And where would they be without or with Rick Ankiel?
That's the big question that the Cardinal fans will be asking. Ankiel has been throwing unbelievably well at Johnson City, I think it is, where he's stationed right now. There are no plans at all to bring him anywhere close to the major leagues this season. They're going to let him work on things, come in with a clean slate next spring training, and see what happens.
Or Darryl Kyle, talking with him before the game, I guess he's leading the club in home runs and RBI.
Yeah. Here's Vigna. There are some who say if he can't throw the ball over the plate, stick him in the outfield. He's that good of a hitter.
Oh, what a great athlete. Well, one of the things that if he does, and I'm sure he will overcome his wildness. You face something like that earlier in your career, you have almost an arrogance that anything that comes your way after that, you're going to handle. Boy, I like the way here that's happening. Pounding Vigna in, that's where you got to get him out. Because he really likes the ball out over the plate, and he will just serve it over that shortstop's head.
And the Cubs catching this guy at a real good time. He's 0 for his last 13. And Machado took a wicked foul ball. Ooh. Off the arm and under the chin.
Some catchers will go with that throat guard hanging down, but he's got a little extension there on his mask. Boy, overall, it would seem that the Cubs are catching this club at a pretty good time because Renteria's struggling a little bit.
Vigna's been struggling. Edmonds, we've talked about his offensive problems. Renteria hasn't hit very much. McGwire's just now starting to be Mark McGwire again.
And what a big hole it is without J.D. Drew, because Tony La Russa cannot play that left-right, left-right.
And talking with Tony before the game, Drew is going to begin a rehab tonight down at Peoria. He's been out since June 17th when his hand was broken on a David Wells pitch. At the time, Drew had 21 home runs and 49 batted in. If all goes well, Drew could be back playing for the Cardinals as early as this Sunday night. If not, they expect him back in time for their series at home against the Atlanta Braves.
At the time of his injury, Chip, he was their best all-around player. Hands down. Great plays defensively out in right field. Certainly they've lost a lot. Not a lot, but some in right field. Pujols, who has not played the outfield before, did not have the benefit of working on his outfield in spring training because he was ticketed all along to play third base. Now he has had to play the outfield. And Tony, one thing that Dustin Hermanson, after the game last night, talking about the Chicago series, said that this is a must-win situation for our ball club. And Tony said, whoa, wait a minute. And Tony did not want to play down this series at all, but he was afraid with those type of words, that's when, you know, a team really starts to press.
Yeah, there's already enough pressure on this Cardinal team. They're the team that's 8.5 back.
Well, you go through a long season and you start pressing, you go right in the tank.
Line drive right field, base hit for Vigna. Sosa over quickly. Vigna's going to try for two. Here's the throw to second in plenty of time. Ball knocked free and Vigna in safely. Let's see if Ricky's all right. It's a double all the way for Vigna, and on the collision, the ball popped free.
Boy, Sosa with the strike there, and bare hands this ball, knowing that that's his only shot to get Vigna. And this glove actually went between his legs when he popped it out. Good hard slide by Vigna.
That's what you're supposed to do if you're out. Knock that ball or do anything within the rules to dislodge the baseball, and Vigna just made the biggest play of the game. He's in scoring position now for Polanco and Pujols. Ground ball right side. EY knocks it down. Scrambles up and got his man. Good play. He was playing up the middle. And Vigna to third now with 2 outs for Pujols. That saved a run.
Well, EY was playing up the middle to hold Vigna close over at second base. And look how he gives ground here. By giving that ground, he creates an angle to make the play. He's one of the quickest guys also, making the play and getting to his feet.
So quick meeting on the mound, and we'd like to welcome our affiliate Insight Communications and their viewers in Sterling, Dixon, and Rock Falls, Illinois, to the ballpark today.
And did you know that Rock River separates Sterling and Rock Falls?
I didn't.
And don't forget, September 14th through the 16th, celebrate Mexican heritage with a Mexican fiesta. Like that. I think we'll be on the road for that.
What date is that again? Hang on.
September 14th through the 16th.
14th, 15th, 16th. Well, we'll be here, but it's getaway day on the 16th, so we won't be able to partake, unfortunately.
And that's 120 miles west of Chicago.
But you know, a lot of Cardinal fans in
No.
that part of the country, you think?
No.
Still too far
No,
north?
Yeah. That's Stone, Chicago right there. Maybe a little further south, Peoria, and that's when you get into some Cardinal fans.
Well, we know Pete Van Auken is watching this series down in Peoria with his lovely wife Donna. Hope she's feeling better.
Pete's one of the best, isn't he?
You got that right. Rim into right center field. That's trouble. Sosa on the run. Can't get it. Albert Pujols with a 2-out double has given the Cardinals the lead. A 2-1 score. And he's a little gimpy as he motors into second base. So now the Cardinals with 4 hits, 3 of them with 2 outs, and Pujols may have pulled something, rounding the first base bag.
Boy, Pujols just got a pitch out over the plate, and even with Mark McGwire on deck in that situation, and the fact that he has taken Tampany deep in this ball game, you see as he rounds first base, something popped. Boy, Brad Henderson, the fine trainer, assistant trainer for the Cardinals, has been one busy man.
First, Timlin does something in the bullpen. Now Pujols running between first and second comes up gimpy. But a clutch 2-out double into right center gives the Cardinals a 2-1 lead. And this is what Tony La Russa was hoping his team would do. They wanted to set the tone in the first 2 games of this series.
That's where the Cubs have been strong all year long, with that starting rotation to keep them in the ball game. You've seen a couple wins for the Cubs in those late innings.
So first base open. Here's McGwire. Jim Edmonds is next. Cardinals with 2 doubles in this 6th inning. Lead it 2-1. And that caught the corner. Strike 1. Cardinals have left 1 man on base. The Cubs have left 6 men on base. They're in the top of the 6th inning. Houston playing in Pittsburgh later on tonight. They're starting a 5-game series with a day-night doubleheader coming up on Saturday.
5 in 4 days. Well, I don't know if there's enough pitching to hold that.
In that park, might be a little tough. Pirates have had the Astros number this year. They've played them very, very well. They've beaten them 4 out of 5 times. And the Cubs hoping that'll continue with play tonight.
And the Pirates playing this Cardinal team tough at Busch Stadium, taking 2 out of 3 with some pretty good pitching, holding this struggling Cardinal offense down. Here's a spot here, Chip, where you've got to take your shot with your best pitch to McGwire.
Cubs don't have the true shift on for McGwire, although Eric Young playing almost right behind the second base bag. David were the true shift, you'd have 3 defenders on the left side of the diamond. But that's as close as you can come without actually putting 3 men over there. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Pujols moving on the play. Looks like he's all right now.
Right, this is where it's a gutsy call by the pitcher, but he has thrown Mack a couple pitches away, soft, and really gotten him out on his front foot. Now, you've got him set up for that pitch away again.
And he went up and away, and McGwire couldn't lay off. Tampany has struck out 7 men, but 2 doubles in the 6th inning gives the Cardinals the lead. 2-1 heading to the home half. Don't miss tonight's episode of the Chicago Sports Report. All the headlines, features, and highlights of Chicago teams for a full half hour. It's the only show that gives your home teams the coverage they deserve. The Chicago Sports Report is tonight at 10 on Fox Sports Net. Got to start taking advantage of Bud Smith. He has left 6 Cub runners stranded today, Dave Otto. And now he's working with a 2-1 lead. This is his first Major League road start, and he's felt right at home here at Wrigley. He's been terrific.
Well, he's expanded the strike zone with the Cubs, gotten a couple strikeouts on changeups down in the zone, and really hasn't thrown that many breaking balls until this at bat to Ricky.
Again, we told you that Cardinal staff just 10 earned runs in their last 50 innings. And Smith has factored into that. His last game, he beat the Pirates, gave up 2 runs, 7 hits, 6 innings. And beat David Wells June 17th. That's the game J.D. Drew broke his hand. That was his first Major League start. Pitched a couple of times in the bullpen before the Cardinals sent him back to the minor leagues. Down at AAA, he was outstanding. An 8-5 mark with a 275 earned run average. That one driven down the left field line. If it's fair, it's gone. But I think he yanked it too far foul. He did. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, at 21 years old, Mr. Smith came up in a hurry. Last year, Cardinals minor league pitcher of the year, posted a 17-2 record with an ERA of 2.2.
So he was unheralded early, but he has really come on the last couple of years. Ball 3, 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, if you're left-handed and you can change speeds, you go a long way in this game. By getting guys out on their front foot with that changeup and then those fastballs in.
Hot shot towards short. Renteria gloves cleanly. 1 man down. Let's take a look, David. Our voice stream wireless call to the booth question of the day. It comes from Ryan Weathers at Wireless Planet. Dave, do you think the Cubs are done making any trades? Not Michael Tucker last week.
I don't think so. And the reason why I say that, there's a couple holes in this Cubs lineup, and certainly with that pitching staff. You know, the other thing that we really haven't talked about that much is you can never have enough pitching. And the Cubs have been very fortunate this year to have those 5 starters all year long, with the exception of a Manny Ibar start earlier in the year for a spot start. But there's certain players out there, and I think as we get closer, Chip, all the deals are going to be made. You know, we've seen a couple deals, Jermaine Dye. But this will all happen in the 11th hour.
And the reason you have so many teams still alive in the divisional races, that's right down the middle of Matthews. Boston's 2.5 games behind the Yankees. Cleveland and Minnesota are tied. Atlanta and Philadelphia separated by 1 game. The Marlins are only 5 back. Houston 4 back. Cardinals 8.5 back. Arizona by 1.5 games over Los Angeles. But then you look at Oakland, they're 18 games back. Oakland's 3.5 games out of the wild card in the American League.
I don't think any team can say, hey, we're done. We've made all our trades, we're set. If something presents itself, and Manny McPhail and Jim Henry are certainly out there looking. If there's a trade out there to be had, we're going to make it.
High drive on what would have been ball 3. Count stays 2 balls, 2 strikes. Matthews sacrificed. That led to the first Cub run. He struck out swinging on an off-speed pitch in the 4th inning. So he's 0 for 1.
Do you think the Cubs are done?
No, I don't. But I think everybody knows what the Cubs' need is, and I think everyone's going to ask for the top 3 or 4 prospects in the system. And I don't think Andy McPhail and Jim Hendry, this is only my opinion, I don't think they're going to sacrifice the entire farm system for one player for a short-term rental. I just don't think that that's in the cards.
Well, I was pretty impressed with Oakland going after Jermaine Dye. I did not feel like they gave up much to get Jermaine Dye.
2-2 pitch driven toward right. Pujols will have that one surrounded. Well, not only did they get Jermaine Dye, but they now have a chip to use perhaps in Johnny Damon if they decide to move him. They can move Jeremy Giambi to the DH spot where he might be even better than he is now. But they're starting to put the pieces of the puzzle together, if not for this year, next season in that Oakland front office. But I think getting back to the Cubs, you have an obligation to try to win now. You also have an obligation to sustain winning. And when you look at the track record of the Cubs, they've had one set of back-to-back winning seasons in 30 years. 1971 and 72, the last 2 years in a row that the Cubs have won more games than they've lost in consecutive seasons. What that tells you is that when they've had the chance to win, many times they've gone for it, but they've never had enough in the farm system to sustain success. It's taken a long time, 5 very long years for the Cubs farm system to start to blossom. I hate to see that all disappear very quickly. And folks, Bud Smith is as good as advertised. His healthy comes to 2 hits over the last 4 innings, and he's got a 1-run lead. Big blow of the game for the Cardinals. Albert Pujols, a double in right center field. That drove home Fernando Vina, and that's given the Cardinals a 2-1 lead. Heading to the 7th already. Both Bud Smith and Kevin Tapani throwing the ball very well. But for Kevin, again, the same sad story. No offensive support behind him.
In a veteran pitcher, Chip, I don't think it really bothers him that much. Certainly as a young pitcher, you're worried about your team scoring runs, but Tap is almost automatic out on that mound. He doesn't let anything else get in the way of him executing each pitch.
Tap trying to snap an individual 6-game losing streak. His last victory June 2nd against Milwaukee. That's a fair ball at first and an easy play to retire Jim Edmonds. He's not swinging the bat very well at all today. But you look back since that ball game in Milwaukee, the Cubs have scored more than 3 runs while he was in the game once. That was in his last start at Houston. He left that game 3-3. Every other game, he left a Cardinal game 2-0, left a game down 8-2, 4-2, 4-0, 2-0, 2-1, 3-2, and 3-3.
Boy, sometimes those wins are tough to come by. Get in a streak where you just catch your offense not swinging the bats when you get out there. And Dustin Hermanson has been through that with the Cardinal ball club.
2 quick strikes to Craig Paquette as we've reached the 3 o'clock hour.
Well, there was a string there where Hermanson had 5 consecutive quality starts, and out of those 5, only won 1 of those games. The Cardinals scored a total of 11 runs for him. You know what makes Tap so tough? You know, as he's getting up there in age, 37 year older, his ability to change speeds along with working in and out with the hitters. If you get a hitter going in 4 different directions, you're going to get some outs.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Craig Paquette.
So there's a loose ball from from the Cubs bullpen. Tapany's spot coming up next inning as Todd Van Poppel starts to warm up.
Cubs hoping to see a chain of hits. And the bottom of the 7th inning rolls around. He's running full to Paquette. Want to wish Henry Awapol a happy birthday. She's friends of Director of Media Relations Sharon Panazzo and enjoying the game today. Bases clear, 1 out. Smash towards short. Ricky backhand stab. 2 out. Joe Surgott, 92 years young, watching in Griffith, Indiana. 14-year-old Robert Friedman here from Las Vegas. They're here from Kewanee, Illinois. The hog capital of the world is Kewanee, Illinois. Someone ranks us. Ruby Cox is here with Marty Stanley. The Dufresne family from Belle Chase, Louisiana. Joshua Belts from Aurora celebrating a birthday. Pattons are here from Maysville, Missouri. Jim Newell from Lafayette, Indiana. Baseball fans from all across the Midwest in town for a big weekend of baseball with these Cardinals.
Well, I remember in '94 we were in dead last. It was 35, 36,000 here for that Cubs Cardinals series. Which, for my money, Chip, is still the best rivalry. Go.
I agree with you. 2-1. You talk all you want about those great New York series, but that was a city series. You have Giants Dodgers, that's the state of California. Yankees Red Sox, of course, but the Cubs and Cardinals really polarizes a third of the country. The entire Midwest gets up for this series. Foul ball past third, 2-2 to Edgar Renteria. Cubs would like nothing better than to strike first. On a gorgeous afternoon for baseball. 2-2 pitch. Rifled out of play, foul, and we'll do it again. Yankees, speaking of them, they're at home to Detroit. And they're up 12-7 heading to the bottom of the 8th inning. Juan Encarnacion the other day hit a ball into the left center field bleachers at Yankee Stadium. They believe, and they have no official record of that, it's the first time anybody's hit a ball that far since Yankee Stadium was remodeled some 26 years ago. Ball estimated to have traveled 477 feet. Ground ball to third. Easy pick up for Tyrone Tapany. If that was his last inning, it was a good one. Bottom half of the 7th inning rolls around. Robert Machado leads things off. Then Kevin Tapany's spot is due. Then Eric Young for the Cubs. It's a 2-1 Cardinal lead. And along with Dave Otto, Chip Carey back to the ballpark. And a high drive straightaway center field deep. Edmonds back, still going back. Turns around and makes a basket catch. How about that? Edmonds thought it was over his head, but he recovered in time, Dave, for out number 1.
Boy, Edmonds will run to a spot, but with this wind playing tricks with the baseball, misjudges it a little bit. But he regroups in time.
How about that play, Michael Andretti? What do you think? Pleasure to have you here. What's new on the Cart Series?
Well, we're actually here in Chicago this weekend. We're going to have the Target Grand Prix out there in Cicero, and you know, we're basically starting second half of our season here.
How'd the first half go for those who don't follow the Cart Series?
It's going okay. You know, for Team Motorola, it's a brand new team that I'm with. You know, we're 4th right now in the championship. We won a race a couple weeks ago, so you know, we're feeling pretty good. I think this team's definitely capable of winning the championship.
I asked you during our commercial break what you thought of Wrigley Field. It's the first time you've been here. Any comparisons between this place and your sport?
Absolutely. I think you can feel the tradition here. It's sort of like Indianapolis. When you go to Indianapolis, you can just feel the tradition. You can feel the fans and the electricity from it because they're so close to the action like they are at Indianapolis. And, you know, to me, it feels very similar.
Joe Girardi is pinch hitting for Kevin Tapany. 1 ball, 2 strikes to him. Cardinals 2, Cubs 1. We're in the 7th inning. Dave Otto, Chip Carey visiting with Michael Andretti.
Michael, you ever play pole position, that video game?
No, I didn't. No. My kids probably have.
Because I played Michael Waltrip one time, NASCAR driver,
Right.
and he was unbelievable
I think it's
on that game. So I figured, heck, if he could ride those cars around the track, he'd be pretty good at that.
Yeah, some of them I'm not bad at.
How was it growing up around there?
I don't know. It was okay. That's all I knew. You know,
Right.
it was life for me. Growing up at racetracks and being around race cars all my life, and that's all I really ever knew.
Eric Young tries to bunt and rolls it foul. You've had a good run up in Toronto. We've got some videotape of that. What was that moment like when you won that race?
You know, that place is incredible. You know, I've won 7 times there now, and you know, it was the first win for Team Motorola, and it was just great to break the ice there in Toronto. It's just it's a great place. Awesome city up there.
And Dad was smiling too.
Oh yeah, he was happy. Yeah, we were all there.
You guys win a lot in the Andretti family, huh?
We've won a couple times.
How fast can you get those things going?
Well, it depends on the racetrack. You know, there's some tracks where we're over 240 miles per hour. Like out here in Chicago, we'll probably get up top speed about 180, 185.
What is that sensation like? Can you describe it to someone who will never ever get a chance to do that?
That's the problem with our sport. You know, you can't really get the people out there to feel the sensations that we're going through. You know, and you know, the in-car cameras that they have help a little bit, and the video games and things like that. But you still don't feel the G-forces and things like that, which just are pretty incredible.
3-1 to Young. Full count 3-2. How long does it take you to recover from a race? I would imagine driving 180, you have to get in your car and drive 65 home. It would drive you nuts.
Yeah, sometimes. It's I don't know. I mean, it doesn't take you. It depends on the race, on the recovery. You know, they are really physical some places, and it could take a few days to get, you know, back in shape.
Smash towards short, and that's going to do it for the Cubs in the 7th. And Michael, congratulations on a great year so far. Good luck here in Chicago. Hope you enjoyed your stay at Wrigley Field. Best wishes to the entire family. Thank you very much. Michael Andretti, we're through 7. It's 2-1 Cardinal game. 2-1 Cardinal game. Let's take a look, Dave Otto, at our Pennzoil protection play of the game. Placido Polanco up. And Eric Young with a terrific ranging play to his left. Saved a run for the moment, but Albert Pujols followed, drove in Fernando Vina to give the Cardinals their 1-run margin. And now Todd Van Poppel is on in the 8th inning to face Matheny, the pitcher's spot. And then we will see for St. Louis.
Boy, what a job by Kevin Tapani. Again, 7 innings pitched, only 2 runs, both earned, 4 hits, 7 punch-outs, and no walks.
Matheny really got jammed. He's retired throughout number 1. It's another 1-run game for the Cubs. This one, if it finishes up this way, would be the 30th of the year. And the Cubs have the best record in all of baseball in 1-run games this season at 19-10 so far.
Boy, getting back to Kevin Tapani's outing, Chip. These last 7 ball games for the Cubs, only 8 walks have been issued over 59 innings. Take a look at the Cubs' 1-run record.
Well, you got to tip your cap to Bud Smith as Kerry Robinson pinch hits for him. He has fired a gem today. 7 innings, 1 run, 5 hits, 3 walks. Robinson drives that ball deep to right, and Sosa puts that away for out number 2. Vina will hit. We told you at the start of the show, the key to this Cardinal team is keeping Vina off the base paths. If Ricky Gutierrez hangs onto that ball at second base, Vina's out. Bases are empty for Polanco and Pujols. Might be a totally different outcome in that 6th inning. And you have to wonder if maybe that scoring will be changed on that play at second base. I mean, Vina was out from here to there. The collisions would knock the ball loose. Tough play, but one that, if made, results in an out.
Well, and you got to tip your cap to Vina on that slide, recognizing that he was beat in second base, slipped pretty late into second base. If he slides early there, chances are he's not going to knock the ball out of Ricky's glove.
There was nothing dirty about the play.
No.
Don't misunderstand us. That's just good old-fashioned hard-nosed baseball. All the way to the backstop. 1 ball, 1 strike. Minnesota's underway in Oakland. They got a first-inning run. They lead the Athletics 1-0. Oakland making their yearly second-half charge. They're not going to catch Seattle. But it's 7 games over 500. Oakland comes in 3.5 games behind the Red Sox in the wild card. Boston's fallen 2.5 games behind the Yankees. They can't wait to get Veritek, Garciaparra, and Pedro Martinez back fast enough.
Boy, what a job David Cohn has done in that rotation. Now they're getting Saberhagen.
Yeah, Saberhagen goes Friday against the Sox, and Cohn's won 6 straight decisions for him. That's a tough test, though, to hold off the Yankees without 3 of your big guns. But Jimmy Williams' club has been able to do it. Just imagine Manny Ramirez with Nomar Garciaparra joining him for the final 8-9 weeks of the season. 1-2 to Vigna. Base is empty. And that one driven foul down the right field line. Again, back at it tomorrow. It's game 2 of the series. Jason Beret against Darryl Kyle. That'll be a WGN telecast. Saturday, the Fox Television Network has the game. Sunday, ESPN. Off day for travel Monday. Then we'll join you in San Diego Tuesday night. Still no word on what happened to Mike Timlin down in that Cardinal pen.
Ronnie's big here, isn't he?
Very. 1-2. And while he might enjoy being the mayor of a small town someplace, I think all of us hope that next year Ronnie will get a much-deserved trip to Cooperstown. The President's Committee could vote him into the Hall of Fame. It would be a correction of a glaring omission if he were placed among the immortals in baseball's Hall of Fame. That just missed, not by much. 2-2. Jason Christensen, the left-hander. Dave Pearce, the right-hander. Timlin's been closing some games for the Cardinals of late, but if he hurt his knee, he obviously can't go today.
This Cardinal ball club has gone to that bullpen by committee. And with Tony La Russa, when he had Eckersley, he went with him all the time, but last couple of years he's fiddled with that bullpen.
Come on, Tom. 3 balls, 2 strikes. You cannot put this guy on with 2 out, because a walk is a double or worse.
Boy, here's where you just got to try and pound him inside.
3-2.
Well, you make your best pitch. Potter's thrown a couple breaking balls that he's just nicked. This is the type of guy that you just want him to put the ball in play immediately.
The 3-2 pitch to Vigna. This is why he's such a good hit. He spoils good pitch after good pitch.
He spits him out. You know, and that's when you get frustrated as a pitcher and you make a bad pitch in the middle of the plate. But with 3-2 here, you just got to pound right down the middle and take your chances with Vigna, because he's not going to hurt you with the long ball.
2 out, 1. So Vigna's aboard for Polanco. 38,549 the paid attendance at the ballpark today. Cubs closing in very rapidly on 1.6 million in home attendance. This is the 46th date of the year. Play at first. Cubs are averaging 34,000 at home.
Well, heads up here. Vigna with 11 stolen bases on the year, only 3 caught stealing. And Todd fairly slow to the plate with his arm action. It takes him a long time to unload the baseball. And this is again where the head games between Don Baylor and Tony La Russa come into play. Cubs trying to hold Vigna over at first base.
Line drive right field base hit. Vigna around second. He'll motor on to third. Cardinals have him at the corners with 2 outs. That's why you don't want to walk Vigna. Now it sets up a very, very big insurance run situation for St. Louis. 2 are on, 2 are out. And Pujols to the batter's box.
Boy, a big reason why Polanco is hitting .320 this year is his ability to go the other way. And hitting situations where with that first baseman holding the runner on, able to take that inside pitch and drive it the other way.
Cubs have 5 hits today, 2 of them since the start of the third. And Popple misses with the ball low, 1 ball, no strikes. St. Louis, 2 runs on 5 hits themselves. Two teams playing very similar styles of baseball, tangling in game 1 today. Both featuring very good pitching right now, and offenses that aren't providing much offense.
When you look at this ball club, the Cubs ball club, as of late, swinging the bat pretty good. However, Bud Smith able to change speeds in today's ball game and keep the Cubs hitters off balance. And that's what you got to do against Pujols, is change speeds, and pitchers are figuring out ways to get him out. But one of the things that we've seen with Pujols' swing as the season progresses, it's getting a little bit longer. As that bat gets a little bit heavier, it takes a little longer to get your bat head going.
High fly ball straight away left. Ought to take care of business. It does, and the Cardinals are subdued in the 8th inning. A little 2-out trouble, but Van Poppel gets out of the jam. Bottom half rolls around. Best chance to score. DeShields, Sosa, and Coomer coming up. Bottom of the 8th inning, and our Smirnoff call to the pen. Jason Christensen is on to face Delino DeShields. Then you've got Beers getting ready for Sosa, Coomer, and Gutierrez next. And a tough test for the Cub left fielder. DeShields 0 for 12 lifetime against the Cardinal left-hander. And he takes a strike. 0-1. A 6-game hitting streak for Delino is on the line today. Former Cardinal facing his former team for the first time in a while today.
Christensen making his 28th appearance of the year. La Russa going with that bullpen by committee, and Christensen also with 3 saves. The thing about him, got that good live fastball along with that slider that he will throw down and away to left-handed hitters.
Good idea, jammed him inside, but he missed with a show-me fastball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. We're in the 8th inning. It's been a struggle for 2 offenses today. Cardinals 2, Cubs 1. First game of 4 big ones at Wrigley. Let's take a look at today's Geico Direct quote of the day. Christensen's record. This is the situation where you really love to see your team not be composed of 25 one-man teams. You can call them it. Swing and a miss. DeShields over 13 lifetime. Sosa's coming up. Christensen won't face him. But one thing about this Cub ball club is they have formed very strong bonds with each other. They've been able to put away a whole lot of distractions from outside that clubhouse, and they really are a very cohesive, solid unit. So Christensen did the job. He was the side. He struck out Delino to Shields. And now Beers is going to come on and face Sosa, Coomer, and Gutierrez. One out in the 8th inning. Cubs need one to tie in a very well-pitched ball game at beautiful Wrigley Field. One out in the 8th inning. Tony La Russa playing the odds. Righty versus righty, lefty versus lefty. 3 straight right-handed bats, 2 up for the Cubs. Sammy Sosa against Dave Beers first.
Boy, Beers has been tough out of that bullpen, and he has been equally tough on Sammy Sosa. Sosa only 2 for 14 against Beers. Beers earlier in the year, trouble with his finger, throwing that split finger fastball. But since coming back, has formed a pretty good tandem along with Mike Timlin in that bullpen.
Swing and a line drive right to the shortstop. Renteria makes the play at the knees. And Sosa hits a bullet but goes unrewarded. 2 outs in the 8th.
Boy, all game long we have seen Renteria really cheat towards that hole. And primarily with Sammy Sosa, you are going to play towards the hole, but other hitters also has been cheating towards that hole.
Two outs for Coomer. Ricky Gutierrez waiting on deck. Coomer a double. That was back in the Cubs' 3rd inning. Again, just 2 hits by the Cubs after the 2nd inning today. Bud Smith has thrown a gem. Kevin Tampany, 7 innings, 4 hits, only 1 earned run. Bob Rosenberg, the official scorer, did change the scoring on that Vina play at second base to a single E6 as Gutierrez dropped the ball on the hard Vina slide. So Tampany gives up only 1 earned run, not 2 today. But unfortunately, that second run's the big one on the afternoon. Two balls, no strikes. Line down the right field line. That might stay fair, but nope. Goes foul by a foot or so. 2 balls and a strike to Coomer.
Well, you mentioned Vina's slide at second base, and we have seen some good hard baseball when these two teams lock horns. Earlier in the year, extra inning game, Fernando Vina made a diving catch out in the outfield to save a run and a Cubs victory in extra innings.
Well, this is the way the Cardinals have to play. They have to scratch. They have to claw. They have to do everything they can possibly do to find a way to win a game. They're 8.5 back. They'd like to leave town a whole lot closer than 8.5. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Coomer. Steve Klein is up in the Cardinal pen. You might see him in the 9th inning with Tucker, Stairs, Patterson, and Hundley lurking on the Cub bench from the left side. That's the reason he might close today. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Base is empty. And Coomer protecting the plate.
And you would figure in this series, with the pitchers locking horns, that there are going to be some tight ball games where a game will hinge on that one play. Boy, in these games you really go pitch by pitch.
2-2. Got him with something off speed, and Christensen and Beers make short work of the Cubs in the 8th inning. 2-1 is our score. Big Mac to lead off the ninth for St. Louis. They're in front, 2-1. Mark McGwire in the batter's box, and he did some damage in the 4th inning. A towering home run with 2 outs. And he hits a bullet this time. Deep left center field. McGwire has his 2nd home run of the day. His last 6 hits have left the ballpark, and the Cardinals may have just put it out of reach. It's 3-1.
Well, when he gets his arms extended, he doesn't even have to hit it. Outer half, and just one-hands it into the left center field bleachers.
So it's Mark McGwire 2, Cubs 1, and the Cardinals lead it 3-1. And Edmonds in the box, he's 0 for 3. Big Mac now 4 home runs behind Harmon Killebrew for 5th on the all-time list. That's number 569. Hall of Fame bound career. And if he starts swinging, who comes back? Don't count out these Cardinals yet. That's what Tony La Russa was talking about. Quote you mentioned earlier when Justin Hermanson was saying these are must-win games for us. Even after the Cardinals leave town, there are 50-some-odd games, 58-some-odd games left in the season.
Oh, yeah.
Including 3 more with the Cubs. That's right down the middle. Edmonds retired for out number 1. He struck out 3 times today.
And as Sosa goes, so goes the Cubs offense, and I really think that's the case now with that Cardinal ball club. McGwire starts swinging the bat, and it loosens up this ball club. And you take a look at Edmonds fooled by the breaking ball. And when you look at this Cardinal ball club, they really have not had McGwire and Edmonds in tandem since the first half of last year. McGwire missing the most of the second half of last year, and this year with his knee injury. So certainly, Chip, this Cardinal offense is very potent. They'll get decent pitching, and the Cubs can make a statement in this series, and certainly down by a couple runs here, it's going to be tough. But the Cubs have proved themselves down at Enron Field with their backs against the wall, and certainly it's nice to get that first one out of the way here. But
Ray Langford pops that ball into shallow left center field. Long run for Gary Matthews Jr. But he makes the play for out number 2. But let's analyze this Cardinal team now for a moment. Let's assume that Drew comes back and starts swinging the bat very well by August 1st. You've got Mark McGwire swinging the bat very well. You have Matt Morris, one of the best pitchers in baseball. You have Darryl Kyle, who was a 20-game winner. You have Bud Smith, who could go to 3-0. You have Dustin Hermanson, who's gotten no run support. You've got an offense that, when healthy, can put 7 or 8 runs on the board. The only question mark for the Cardinals would be is how solid is that bullpen going to be? Then you look at where St. Louis is, maybe 5 to 8 games out with 2 months to play. Look out. The Cardinals are very much alive if all of those things fall into place for them.
it seems like the Cubs all year long have answered with that pitching. I mean, I would stack this Cubs pitching staff against anyone in either league.
Absolutely.
And Don Baylor is able to keep his ball club in a lot of games that they had no right being in.
But
and get back, Chip, I'm sorry, but the St. Louis ball club, you know, J.D. Drew getting back. You also have to look at Rondell White coming back, adding some offense. Bill Miller's been a huge, addition for this Cubs ball club. Has not been able to play.
Look out. Into the seats. That grazed a couple of folks. Hopefully everyone is all right.
So offensively, the Cubs are going to get better. Because against the young pitchers, you know, we've seen David Williams do a pretty good job against the Cubs today, Bud Smith. But hopefully with all their horses, the Cubs will be able to generate some more runs.
Yeah, we talk a lot about how the offense or how the pitching keeps you in every game. Well, you got to score. And as well as Kevin Tapani pitched today, day where he gave up 2, Cubs haven't been able to score 3, and that's happened a lot now. This will be the 35th game this year out of 101 where the Cubs have scored less than 4 runs. And in this day and age in Major League Baseball, 4 runs a game is not much. 2-2 to Renteria. Ball 3 low. 3 balls, 2 strikes. McGwire unloads with a 2-home run game today, the 66th multi-home run game of his career. Second time he's done it this year. The last 6 hits McGwire has made have left the ballpark. So he's got 16 home runs, 34 driven in. And hit 569, 570 today.
You know, there were some ball clubs pitchers that would beat him up inside when he first came off the DL, but kitchen's closed now.
Renteria skies that one into left field. Who wants it? Matthews and DeShields get their signals crossed. Matthews takes over. Good play by the Cubs center fielder. But Big Mac leads off the 9th with a towering home run. His second of the day, and it's last chance time for the Cubs. 3-1 Cardinal lead. Our producer of Cubs baseball on Fox Sports Net is Bob Albrecht. Our director, Dave Turner. The associate producer is Joe Corneo. Our stage manager, Christine Charbonneau. Our production manager, Moheen Ramsey. And the executive producer is Dan Lafferty. Dave Otto, Chip Carey. We head to the bottom of the 9th inning. A couple of changes. Cardinals will have Ray Lankford in left. And Steve Klein is on to try to close this one out. He'll face Gutierrez, Matthews, Cairo. And then you've got Machado and then Van Poppel's spot. The reason Tony La Russa going with the left-hander Klein here, even though you've got a right-hander, a switch hitter, a right-hander coming up, he wants to keep Tucker, Stairs, Patterson, and Hundley anchored on that Cub bench. He'll take his chances with these 4 men in a 2-run game rather than bringing on Tucker, who's hurt the Cardinals badly this year, Stairs, and Patterson, who's got blazing speed. So a 3-1 game. And Klein pumps it right through there for a strike.
Klein coming on for the 17th time, and all of a sudden this trade is looking pretty good for the St. Louis Cardinal ball club. Klein coming over to the Cardinals along with Dustin Hermanson for Fernando Tatis. And the way Pujols was plugged in over at third base, now moving out to the outfield. Cardinals really don't miss Tatis that much, and they solidified their bullpen.
Swing and a high fly ball cracked toward center field deep. Edmonds back on the warning track again. He has to come back, and again he has to go to his backside to make the catch. That's twice today. Edmonds has been fooled by the wind, and the closer he gets to the wall, the more the ball dies, and he almost overran it. 1 out.
Boy, with this wind, when outfielders take their eye off the ball for just that split second, you saw Edmonds looking at the wall. Then you lose the ball for that 1 instant, and the Cubs almost catch a break.
They just ran to a spot and then had to recover quickly.
It's a tough place to run this spot.
You bet. But he made his play. And here's Matthews. They'll see if Gary can snap out of a 2-for-34 slump. How about that swing? 0-2. Klein looking for his 4th save of the season. One ball, 2 strikes. Again, the Astros will be in Pittsburgh tonight. Jason Schmidt in what could be his final start for Pittsburgh. will be opposed by Dave Malicki. Pirates have beaten the Astros 4 times in 5 tries, and it's game 1 of a 5-game set at PNC Park tonight.
Well, the Cubs took care of business against teams that they should beat in the Pirates, winning 2 straight against them. And I like the fact that they didn't look forward to this series. I mean, they are playing 1 game at a time right now. Sometimes you can get caught up looking forward to a series like this against St. Louis and lose those games against lower division teams.
Popped up. See if the wind will blow it back into the seats. It will. Just out of reach of Matheny. That ball was 5 feet on the grass when it left the bat, and then the wind just pushed it into the crowd, and Matthews gets a reprieve.
Pretty catchable ball there, if he gets to the wall. However, Matheny did not get to the wall first. And with the wind playing tricks, not sure where that thing's going to land.
Last Cub hit was by Kevin Tapani in the 5th inning today. Last hit before that was a Ron Coomer 2-out double in the 3rd. Again, the Cubs trying to find some offense. Matthews really fighting it now. 2 for his last 35. He's out number 2, and Miguel Cairo, the final hope. He's got the only Cub RBI today.
Boy, Klein can be awfully tough if you're not able to lay off that slider. If he gets ahead in the count, 4 to 2 strikes, he will bury that slider until you show him that he can't lay off it.
Well, again, the Cardinals came in just 18 and 28 on the road this year. But they had to play a lot of games without the big boy, Mark McGwire. They played a lot of games without J.D. Drew. But today's game may be the biggest of the year for the Cardinals in the sense that getting McGwire starting to swing well. They get a big lift from Bud Smith pitching for the first time as a starter on the road. They cut into this Cub lead. They subdue the offense of Chicago, pick up a game in the standings, and send Kyle to the mound tomorrow. A man that's given the Cubs a lot of trouble before as well. So St. Louis, a terrific start to the series for the Cubs. More head scratching about the offense, and a tip of the cap to Bud Smith today.
Well, Bud Smith really filled the zone with strikes, and he got a lot of swings out of the zone. Got to be patient against a guy like that doesn't throw particularly hard.
6 more games left with the Cardinals this year. 3 more starting tomorrow. Cardinals will be back here in late August, the 24th, 25th, and 26th. And that'll wrap up our season series with them. Series tied 5 games apiece. Cardinals looking for their first win in Chicago this year. Really bat by Cairo, trying to keep it alive from Machado, who waits next. Cardinal bullpen is silent. This game is in the hands of Klein now. The 2-2 towards short. Funny hop. Oh, Renteria hung with it. The Cardinals winning 3-1. St. Louis draws first blood in the 4-game weekend series. Very impressive pitching, Dave Otto. Cardinals again 10 earned runs in their last 54 innings. That's going to win you a lot of games. Today, the Cardinals, who've been offensively challenged, needed Big Mac's 2 blows, and that was all they needed. The Cubs managed 1 run, 5 hits today. No hits after the 5th inning. And St. Louis pulls to within 7.5 games of first place. The Cubs' 3-game win streak comes to a close.
Well, this is going to be a dogfight. these next 3 games against St. Louis, they get some good pitching, and they've had good pitching the last 6 or 7 ball games. Got a big one tomorrow in Darryl Kyle, but the offense right now, the Cubs don't really match up well against left-handed pitching. And hopefully tomorrow get some of those left-handed bats in the lineup against Darryl Kyle. Hopefully a different story tomorrow, because again, the pitching staff, good job. Kevin Tapani, 7 innings pitched, only 2 runs, 7 strikeouts, and again, no walks. So certainly put the Cubs in a position to win this ball game. However, just was not able to generate that big inning.
So St. Louis with the victory, 3 runs, 6 hits, no errors. They left 4 men on base. The Cubs 1 run, 5 hits, 1 error. Cubs left 6 men on base, had a chance to maybe score a couple of runs early in the ball game. Remember, they left 1 in the first, 2 in the second, 1 in the third, 2 more in that 5th inning. But day like today, you got to tip your cap to Bud Smith, Dave Otto. The young left-hander was just outstanding. He's come out of nowhere for this Cardinal organization, and as you mentioned, in the absence of Rick Ankiel, he might prove to be factor X in this divisional race.